June 21st. What's up, Dory? Trix, you surprised you were able to do it that well. Thanks, Trix. Sitting in a nondescript concert room on the third floor of the Caroline Farrell building, shining armor tugged at his collar. Like everyone else in the room, he was required to dress in a suit and tie, typical wear for the FBI, which is how he now temporarily tied to. It was a Saturday afternoon, and while he was no stranger to working on weekends, he didn't think that the feds tended to do that. They always seemed to be a 9-to-5 operation. We considered giving him cause to think of it, given the sheer amount of paperwork and questions he had to fill out. It was likely due to the Fed's traditional distrust of law enforcement, he guessed. But he had hoped that the field officers he'd been working with would at least be a little more professional than the desk jockeys he'd been dealing with for the past 7 days. As he looked around some of the other people in the room, he noticed several from other police departments in the county, as well as a few deputies from the ECSD. One of the former he knew personally, Jackrabbit, a foul-mouthed E8 from the Mountainside City PD, who thought he was God-given to women, at least as much as he told anyone when the two were both in the same class at the police academy. The latter, however, brought him a smile as Sandalwood walked into the door, saw him and waved his way. Good. A good thing that she's been dragged into this. I could use her sanity, he thought as he waved to her. Shortly thereafter, meeting Metalli tapping him on the shoulder. That, flirting with people already, Sonny? The woman teased. Wonder what Caden's going to say. Hey, if you're breaking up with her, can I have her digits? Kevin asked. Hey, Sandy and I are just friends, Shiny grumbled as Sandalwood approached. Tell him, would ya? Unfortunately for him, the woman was fast on jokes. Sitting down in an empty seat next to him, she gave him a doe-eyed look and said, Well, honey, you promised that I wouldn't be the other woman, right? She then kissed him on the cheek, near the lips. As his eyes widened, she laughed. Turning to the others, she said, Seriously, Kay and I are best friends, so I mess with Shiny all the time. She offered her hand. Deputy Sandalwood, ECSD. See, Metallic and Cuff briefly shook hands before a voice called in her room. All right, have a seat. We're going to get started. A woman walked into the room, deep blue hair and turquoise eyes. Shiny noticed he bore a passing resemblance to Keynes' aunt and mother's friend, Luna. All right, thanks for coming and thanks for putting up with the paperwork this week. That being said, we're getting the briefing started, and everything you hear from this point forward is now a classified, special compromised information, the highest classification we have at our disposal. For those of you keeping score, that's above top secret. Hey, one of the police spoke up. I don't know about the others, but I don't have military clearance. The woman grinned. Yes, you all do. That's what you were filling out this week. SSBI paperwork for the nice drones at the OPM. And if any of you didn't pass, you wouldn't be here. I'm Assistant Special Agent in Charge Hardline, and I'm the person you'll be reporting to on a day-to-day basis. My boss, who you'll be able to meet here, will be here shortly. Anyway, welcome to a huge pile of shit that you can blame the government next door about, metaphorically speaking, and now it's become our fucking mess as well. She started to pass out the folders to everyone in the room. How about all we talking about, Mason Hotline? Another person spoke up. Ever heard of SEAL Team 6 or Delta Force? A new voice spoke as a man walked in. His whiskey-choked voice sounded very much like Actor Lightfoot. Shining Armor's eyes immediately started taking the measure of the man as he moved next to Hardline. With the easy stride of someone who's seen many a decade in law enforcement, his hard, silvery eyes, graying blonde hair, and thick mustache complemented his duster Stetson. Had it not been for the fact that he was an FBI officer, Shining fully expected the man to be wearing U.S. Marshals or Chance's Razor's badge instead. We're just talking the obvious. We're talking just as dangerous, with an iron streak. They specialize in causing human and collateral damage wherever they go, on purpose, to draw attention for their activities, or to look for startling data when the whole building is falling down around your ears. Hardline looked at the man. Boss, you may want to introduce yourself. He grinned. Oh, yes. I'm Simon Badge, Special Agent in charge of this little coffee class. I've had 40 years of law enforcement, and quite frankly, I've never seen a bag of cats like this before. Sandalwood raised her hand. Agent Badge, I'm former Navy. I know some SEALs. You're saying the Canadians have something on par with the DevGru or the first SOFD? He asked, using both groups' formal designations to prove a point. Yeah, I know that the Canucks have IRTF and Airhead, but seriously? In response, Baz nodded to Hardline as he reached into her pocket, pulling out a small remote and hitting a button on it. On cue, the lights dimmed and the screen lowered, and the projector in the back of the room activated, throwing images on the screen. This information comes directly to us from the CIA, NSA, and the RCMP. Oh, so many acronyms! The latter of which was very reluctant to give it to us. Harline began. The screen showed the same emblem that Shining had been seeing this morning at a CPD briefing last week. They are officially called the Strategic Intervention Reconnaissance Execution Network, or more colorfully, the Sirens. Ah! I swear to Celestia! One more acronym, and I am going to go off on a kill spree! The group is composed entirely of females, and the RCMP is info correct, they're very much likely historical Spartans, or the mythical Amazons for a better analogy, meaning that these women have quite literally been trained since childhood to be nothing but weapons of war. A hand in the back was raised. Okay, excuse me while I raise the bullshit flag, but Canadians, really? Excuse the term, but this sounds like some sort of cliche bullshit from some weird techno thriller. In turn, Baz started to demand. A soft voice replied, Yeah, tell that to the people in Dubai and Venice. I'm sure you all watched the news at some point or another, right? Let's add the Palestine to Gulls de from 3 months ago. Several other places have been blamed on ISIS or other extremist organizations, shall we? Baz walked right up to the man and leaned forward. The jovial smile on his face seemed all more menacing for it. But you know, let's just talk about the stereotypes and believe that the Canadians would never do anything like this. Never mind that the fact that just as human we are, they're a nation like us. Nations tend to do things that they're not proud of. And glared, the man said in a soft voice, But hey, just keep on thinking the way you do. I'll tell your next of kin that when you die from a sniper bullet or something, that the sirens might land on you. Maybe even a point blank range. The man blunts. Baz pulled back and addressed the entire room. Let's get this clear. The Malinies want us to arrest them, because otherwise we'll have less scars in town, and we'll have a war on our hands, since that tends to break things and hurt people. I'd rather afford that, wouldn't you? Scars? The Canadian Security Intelligence Service. The CIA's counterpart, Harline answered. Their nickname comes from the French version of the name, the Service Canadien du Renseignement de Sécurité, or SCRS. Ah! We apologize, but Lesenbrier's having a breakdown. We'll be right back. Feel better? Yes, I do. I do. I can handle a few more freaking acronyms. They have a wetworks group that is specifically ordered to hunt down the Sirens. They have been augmented by the other CIA and SOF forces. There have been a few firefights between the two groups in several parts of the world. The Sirens have even held their own so far, but less scars have more people, and well, the Sirens are getting desperate. Which is why we think they're looking to bolt hole in a familiar location without attracting attention. A familiar location? Hey, what's the difference between the US and Canada besides the border and the different secondary language? Spanish fast French, in case you weren't paying attention. Baz answered. On a serious note, though, we have 57 known locations, from the Marianas to Maine, where someone fitting the description of a known siren operative has a seen spot. The Bureau stretches the limit, which is why we ask for assistance from your local law enforcement agencies. Let's make something clear. Due to the urgency of this situation, you're all now considered deputized federal agents. You'll get your usual salary plus a little something we're throwing in for danger pay. But until you're detached back to your parentage, it's easier not to deal with anyone from said organization. As of now, you're all Bureau. This case is your only priority. He looked back to the clock and said, Now, I've got a briefing with the regional director of the situation. As soon as that's done, I'll come back with updates. And meanwhile, Hardy here will brief you all on the background of the group, why they slipped their chain. With that, Agent Bat stepped out of the room. Okay, Hardline said, changing to the next slide. Let's get this started. The Sirens are currently commanded by this woman, Katana Blast, age 41, formerly a captain in the Royal Canadian Navy. The group's second in command is this woman, Rhapsody Blue, age 39, a former RCN commander. The rest of the Sirens operation teams goes as follows. Third in command is an operations officer, Violet Nancy, age 39, former RCN lieutenant commander, logistics officer. In a recently rented building in Sunnytown, three women stood looking at each other. I have some misgivings about this, Martha said to her fellow Sirens. I hope they don't succeed. I hope they give up. Maddie, I have to agree, Vesper pointed out. I raised Arya as my petite sire, and I love her just as much as she was my real flesh and blood sister, just like Mezzo. If I had my way, I would beg her to run away and never come back to the sisterhood. Sitting next to them, Intermezzo agreed. I know how you both feel, but it was just as difficult when A Grande Sures raised us. Hell, sometimes it felt like Harpsichord was my mother, and not just my Grande Sure. But that's the way the sisterhood rolls, girls. We're active until we're 50. Then we move to the support group. Intermezzo pointed to the three girls talking amongst themselves from the other side of the room. Someday, they'll become Grande Sures and take trainees of their own, and by then we'll become too old and retired to support the group. But the sisterhood has to survive, if only to avenge our uncle's death. Until the death. Vesper agreed, clutching a fifth. Until the death. Madrigal agreed, nodding her head. Away from these three older women, Adagio Dazzle hugged her biological sisters. I've missed you too, she said, embracing Arya Blaze and Sonata Dusk. I brought you guys back some presents for Dubai. The eldest of the triplets reached in her bag and pulled out the Black Star pistol. Ari, I know you wanted this for your collection. Arya grinned as she took the gift. You're the best sister ever, Daddy, she complimented, hugging her sis. Oh, and Sonny, here's a vintage PHP I snagged from one of them. There's a little blood gunking out the work, so you have to clean it. That's okay, Sonata said with a smile, taking the pistol and inspecting it. It's not the count, sis, so how's the buy? The three girls chatted amicably amongst each other for several minutes, until Intermezzo blelled, Okay, let's get this show front in the row, front and center, you three, double time! Like lightning, the younger trio immediately moved to stand in front of these three women, immediately coming to attention. Okay, you're on the clock now, understood? Yes, ma'am! The three sounded as one. Parade, bust! Intermezzo barked, and the girls shifted automatically. With a proud smile on her face, the woman continued. This is your final assignment. Once you pass, you'll be promoted past ordinary seaman and promoted to able seaman. Seaman Dazzle. Oh, girl up, will ya? As the fire team starter, you'll be promoted to leading seaman. Is that understood? Oh, Trixie is embarrassed. Yes, ma'am! The trio began shouting again. At ease, Vesper spoke. Eddie eats a packet as each girl moved to a more comfortable stand. These are your order assignments. You are to memorize your duties and carry them out to the best of your abilities. You'll be given no guidance. You will not carry any weapons on any time unless directed. And you are to make yourself look as unregulated as possible, like Seaman Dusk over there. Notice this time, both Adagio and Arya looked at their youngest sister. Notice that Sonata's hair was longer than allowed, in a very unregulated ponytail. Any questions? Vesper began, as each girl looked at the packets given to them. Yes, Lieutenant, Adagio began. What's with the civilian look? Before she could ask anything else, she did her guess her right, turning to see a wide-eyed look on Arya's face. This is... Forgetting her military bearing for a second, she asked, looks like $1 million. What the fuck, Vesper? A second later, she caught herself and said, Sorry, Lieutenant Blue, ma'am. It was Marchko that answered. Okay, off the record, there's 10,000 in American dollars, girl. Each of you have them, and not just you, Ari. And 10,000 is for you to buy civilian clothes of your liking, and whatever you need to pretend to be an average American girl. It was Sonata to ask the question. Why? Intermezzo spoke. We raised you three as petite sœurs, and we loved you three very much. Not just as your trainers, but as sisters. But sooner or later you have to grow up. And oftentimes it means you might find out that you're not cut out for the life of sisterhood. In our case, there were 4 of us biological sisters. Me, my twin, Vesper, and our older twin sisters, Rapsy and Opera. Rappy succeeded at her mission and worked her way to the top, up to executive officer. But Opie, starting an operation in New Zealand that she decided life wasn't for her. She left the sisterhood, and now a teacher in Auckland, where she's happy. We go visit her whenever she can, because she's family, and she's always willing to help out the sisterhood whenever she can. But she's an outsider. We can only go to her when there's no other choice. Now that Opie's got a husband and children of her own, we see her even less. Both because we can't risk ourselves, and we can't risk them. Madrigal nodded. I have an older biological sister as well, Fazlola. In her final training regimen, she fell in love with the guy in New York, married him, and left the sisterhood. We don't speak anymore. She never forgave me for staying with the sisterhood. While I miss her, I have a mission to fulfill. Vesper then interjected, Look, we're not trying to convince you to quit. Though because we love you 3, we'd honestly be happy if you did. No Grand Sua ever wants to see her Petite Sua die. This mission, just like we had, and just like your own Petite Suas will have one day, it's your choice to stay or leave. If you choose to leave at any time, we'll cut you loose and give you a new identity and a couple of million to sell yourself anywhere you want. But if you stay, you'll help us avenge Uncle Poutine and what Les Scars did to him. The 3 sisters looked at each other, with both Arya and Sonata nodding at her older sister. Flashing them a smile, Adagio turned to the 3 Grand Suas, as he said as her eyes glistened with wetness. We loved him too, you know. I remember when he took time from his duties to read us bedtime stories. He told us we could move on beyond what he found us as, and he helped us to do so. Arya wiped a tear from her eyes. He gave us our names, for those old Motown singers he loved. Sonata's tears flowed freely. He gave us everything, and the government took his life, because he wanted us free. She then narrowed her eyes with rage as she said, and I want revenge for that. Arya nodded, putting her hand on Sonata's shoulder. Adagio gave her a cocky grin and said, So not only are we in, but I'll put the bullets right where they need to go, in cold blood if need be. Intermezzo nodded. You 3 can leave at any time during the operation. All you have to do is come here as it is. We'll report here once a week for updates. I'll be operating out of Horseshoe Bay, where our contact will be giving us free supplies. Vesper will be working on a nearby medical equipment clinic in case we need medical treatment. You 3 will be living in a house with Maddie, and you will report to her day-to-day business. Got that? How long's the op? Adagio asked. Until the job's done, Dodgy. Until the job's done. We interrupt this really cool spy story to bring you the rest of 7 Days of Sunny June already in progress. Feeling distinctly uncomfortable, Celestia stepped onto the treadmill, trying to discern the machine for the first time in her life. The last time she ever worked out was PE class back in high school, and now, here she was. The owner of a shiny new monthly membership at Body Feet Fantastique, Cadillacs #1 place for fit folks, or so said the TV ads. Right now, she looked at the complex machine in front of her. 2 things became very clear. 1, she should have brought a pair of headphones. And 2, maybe she should have sprung for the extra fee that would have landed her a few sessions with a fitness trainer. Tia? The confused woman turned her head to see her friend walking up. Dark skin and blue-green eyes nearly buried in teal-violet tresses as long as Celestia's own. Hey, didn't know you were down here. Celestia smiled. Actually, first time. Is that a new hairdo I see, Chris? The newcomer nodded, nodding. Yeah. Sabra always thought I should add a touch of color to my hair. So I had it done by the salon the other day. You like? Looks good, Celestia said with approval. So since you're an expert at this, want to help out a first-timer? Celestia's counterpart grinned. Lucky for you, I do treadmill and cardio on weekends instead of swimming. Sir, I'll help you set up. But you'll have to get a swimsuit on to join me on weekdays. And it's the best way to get a whole workout. You got it. The pastel-haired woman said as her friend started to explain how the treadmill worked. A few minutes more, and both women were jogging between breaths, chatting along about various things that encompassed their friendship. Nearby, two women walked upstairs from the basement swimming pool, still damp from their workout. God, I swear I'm getting old, Velvet mourned. Well, it wouldn't do to have your genes, Lou. Maybe, Luna replied. But you'll have something I've always wanted. A husband, a family, a normal life. Look at me, Vel. I'm 52. I don't even look like I'm 30, and in a few years, my niece is going to look older than me. My boyfriend's less than half my age, and his mother freaks out that she's younger than me. She groaned. Sometimes I think my family's cursed. Yes, we age very gracefully, probably unnaturally so, but it means little when you're missing out on life. Yeah, Velvet agreed with a wistful smile. No offense, but I wouldn't give up my husband and my family life for the world. Even Sunset? The matron nodded. Even Sunny. I love that girl, and I know she loves me. I'm her mother now, and I'm happy to have her as my child. Velvet's words immediately cut off, to be replaced by her pointing towards the treadmills. Wait, is that Tia? Luna blinked. Wait, oh no, that can't be my sister. She believes she's above such petty things as working out to keep fit. Well, that's Luna's good dear friend. Come on, I think we need some answers, and if it's hers, I get to fuck with my sister again. You never stop, do you? I don't recall you giving your sister an easy time, Luna recommended her. Velvet groaned. Point. As the two approached, they could hear the other women say, Yeah, especially Orion's bells to be clear tonight. I think it'd be perfect to... The woman was then treated to a painful, yet funny look of a woman approaching, waving at Celestia. Her gasped, tripped her footing, tripped forward, and slid her head against the treadmill pail, and slid off into the crumpled heap at the end of the roller. Velvet looked at Luna. This is your fault. The early morning snow fell down the streets of Sydney, Australia, as two women walked through the King's Cross district. While there were a few people out at this time of day, there were those who walked past the pair, heard nothing but a pair of Sheilas breezily chatting about having a bite at the new recommended restaurant. The duo continued to move down Victoria Street until it finally came to a nondescript building. The restaurant's bottom floor was bustling with the movement of a winter morning. This is the place, the first woman said, dumping her Australian accent and pulling back her hood, revealing a fair face, orange and yellow-red hair, and red eyes. The second one also removed her hood, her Alice blue hair and green eyes, showing disgust as she watched a couple of people walk across the street, shivering in the cold. Remember when we had cold weather training when we were 12, Kenta? Rappy, I already know what you're thinking, and no, not everyone has to spend a week in the nude fighting against the elements for survival above the Arctic Circle. They're probably civilians, or at most Ran, since the local base is nearby. But they're not like us, never will be. As they walked to the restaurant, a woman in her 40s walked forward, a smile on her face. Oh, welcome to the Basket of Soil. What can I get you lovely ladies? A table at the back if you don't mind, the first one said, tired of seeing all this bloody snow. The second one piped up, Do you have Lent's tails? Oh, we do, love, the woman said, grabbing two menus. Follow me if you would. With that, the two women followed the first to the back of the restaurant, then back to the backside, where the staff was all cooking. All were female. They all looked up at the women briefly, turned away just as quickly, as if indifference. Finally, the maitre looked at the two, pointing to a small staircase upstairs. Go ahead. The boss is up there, Cantana. Cantana Blast, leader of the Sirens, looked at the maitre d'. Oh, he hasn't been behaving himself. The woman rolled her eyes. I remember my talisman has to entertain him for the past 2 days. He's waiting. That's tough enough, but the damn shark told me he turned me down because I'm plump, he says. She picked up a butcher knife. This car's our ticket? I believe so, Katana replied. At her side, Rhapsody Blue, the Siren's exile grinned. Well, he's not wrong, Stefanica. You are putting on a few. Stefanica was right. You birds try running a restaurant sometimes, seeing how thin you stay. Cecile chuckled. Anyway, you should be out there at the piano's with him. Tell her to put it on some strip and get down here. Lunch rush starts in 3 hours. Your time waits for no man. You ladies eat yet? Katana shook her head. Surprise us, she said. See, Rhapsody went up. As the pair ascended the stairs, Rhapsody looked at Katana. She looks happy. She's not. You weren't paying enough attention. She didn't want to give up the CO slot, but her injuries forced her into early retirement. Katana sighed. CO's good, really good, and I enjoyed being the OPS underneath her, but she got careless. That guy in Columbia saw in the chest. Now that bullet's too close to operate on. She knows she's on borrowed time, and when it goes, so does she. And then one of the girls will have to take command of the detachment, or we'll have someone retire entirely. You are such a beast, you know that, Katana? Rhapsody snarled. She's a sergeant just like us. She's supportive for the mission, but you're dismissing her like she's unimportant. Katana turned and stared at his second command coldly. There are 120 of us active personnel left, and maybe 350 reservists if we get caught up. Those reservists run roughly 50 slots we can run to safety in case everything goes to hell. We are at war, Commander, and I will expend everyone, including myself, to win this war. Put down the scars and make sure they pay for what they did to us. Got that? That means everyone's expendable. And if I had to personally put a bullet between your eyes to win this war, I would. Don't you deny you would do the same to me. The two scowled at each other before Rhapsody sighed. My two sisters, my biological sisters, are on a final mission training our last 3 trainees for a while. If I could, I would assist that they, the trainees, and Magical Storm, who's with them, never come back. Maybe it makes me a silly so, but I care about their lives more than Justice Katana. No, you doesn't make you a silly so, Katana responded. It makes you human, something I can't afford to let you being anymore. The two arrived at the top of the steps, and with that, opened the door. The upstairs apartment was everything the Art Deco-inspired restaurant downstairs wasn't. Spartan, minimalist. With the exception of the stereotypical I Love Me wall every military veteran had, bare of adornment. Seated on a love seat, his shirt open like it was some drastic romance novel hero come alive, was their contact. He was being fed grapes by a dark-skinned girl with silvery hair and gray eyes, wearing nothing at all, and flirting with him as though fate and reality depended on BRING! Thank you! Master Seaman Piano Bliss, attention! Katana barked. As the flipping switch, the girl let her persisted to get to attention. The fact that she's completely undressed was no matter. Looking at the girl, Katana snarled, Get dressed and report back to station! Piano saluted, saying, Yes, ma'am. Rhapsody noted that what much more professional had the girl been clothed. She paused briefly to give a kiss to the man, and went out of the room as if nothing was going on. The man scowled at Katana. You shouldn't have sent her away. I like her. She'll make a fine concubine for me. Shut up, right? Katana snarled. That's your Imperial Majesty, Crown Prince defying right to you. The man snarled, brushing purple hair out of his yellow eyes. No, shut up, you idiot, Katana told Wright. You might be a prince, but you're still a moron. A moron pays a lot, and is worth working for, but still an idiot. Rhapsody blinked, looking at her friend Commander. So yes, he's a prince. Katana sighed in a weary but sunny voice. He droned, Commander Rhapsody Blue, formerly of the Royal Canadian Navy, may I have the honor of introducing you to Prince Define Bourbon Canino Carlos Durand Divine Right, Prince of the House of Bonaparte, and fifth in line to the Imperial throne of France. Then with malicious smiles, he added, in pretense, of course. Wright barely bristled at the veiled insult, then gave her a smile, snake with his lunch, added, Fourth in line now, thanks to your timely assassinations. Whatever. She reaches her coat, producing a red object. Here, recover from Venisa Basilica, the dagger of dreams. As for the sheets containing the Song of Summoning, they are en route from Dubai. Given how fragile they are, we're taking our time getting them here, as well as transcribing them in the event that the original seats are lost. Wright banged her fist on the table. The sheets will arrive intact, or else, he snarled. This song is nothing, means nothing, can do nothing. It's all about the sheets. The song must be read for the seats. The damn song would be a happy birthday, it wouldn't matter, as long as the words are sung for those seats. He looked at them and added, The seats, like the dagger, the lance, and my book, are not of this world. Long ago, the wizard Merlin... Fasty laughs. Merlin? Really, you got me. She was immediately cut off by Katana. Let him finish, Commander. She said in a tone that broke no argument. Thank you, Wright replied. Anyway, long ago, Merlin, the master wizard of Britain, was said to have met his counterpart from another realm. Together, they defeated a demon that had somehow tunneled from his other realm. Unfortunately for them, the method that the demon used was cast to the four winds, and at the time had been forgotten by the world, until I had the opportunity to obtain a grimoire from my ancestor. I wasn't aware Napoleon was into the occult, Katana inquired. I studied some of his tactics and profiles. Wright laughed. I'm not talking about that fool. While his reach for power was admirable, he was a stuttering peacock who was too blinded by his own majesty to see his own impending demise. No, I'm talking about my true ancestor of note, Baldassare di Cavalcanti, the infamous alchemist. But it was more than that, and his loss will be my gain. A second layer, he said with a grin, and yours as well, if you continue to play your cards correctly. We're all ears, was Katana's reply. Defying Wright reached into one of the pockets of his pants and pulled out a flash drive. These are the 3 sites I've recently purchased. I have construction crews preparing all 3 locations, and your job will be to oversee them. Of course, once they're done, he gave a grim smile, I don't think I need to tell you what to do next. No, Leslie's statement was firm. I don't know or care who you think you are, but that's a line the Sirens do not cross. We're not the bad guys. We won't become them just to please you on your say-so. Got that? Katana, however, to Leslie's side, took the drive and said, painless or no go. The consecration requires the blood of the innocent. And we can solve that by wearing a couple of blood banks, the officer said smoothly. That's what you want. Not people suddenly wondering where their loved ones disappeared all of a sudden. You're correct, Wright replied, signing his piano retired and carrying 2 plates. Oh, and I want her, he said, pointing to piano. She amuses me. Without skipping a beat, he asked, Seaman Bliss, how old are you? 17, ma'am. Katana thought for a second. Okay, you are now assigned as his charge to the affairs. Your duty is to keep him out of trouble, understood? Piano saluted. Aye, ma'am. Wright put his arm around the girl. Well, we'll be off, Captain Blass. Enjoy your privacy here. It's quite good, and if it wasn't for the fact that your little group owns it, I would consider purchasing it myself. Enjoy. She says piano Wright walked down the stairs like 2 lovebirds. As the siren commander dug into her food, her second command stood there, aghast. Katana, what's going on? Wizards? Demons? Handling one of our junior troops? One who's even legal yet? To a man twice her age? Smile coming to Katana's face. Katana said, You know he's right. This food is damn good. Maybe if we had it back at base, we wouldn't have rebelled. Katana? Okay, relax. Now, I don't believe for a damn minute this guy's legit. He's talking demons, magic, shit that doesn't exist. I looked up this Baldassare di Cavalcanti, and aside from being a man who murdered his wife and was thrown out of his bishopric, claimed he got magic powers for talking to a black unicorn in a mirror, he was someone the church got lazy about handling for a few decades too long. So no, the man was nuts and Divine Rights no better. But what he has is a fuck ton of money, and we pretty much have open access to that bank account. We need weapons, upgrades, the works. If every siren who can carry a gun is going to take down the scars, that means we're going to have to pay dirty for the chains. She sighed, and no, I'm not happy about it. But Seaman Bliss is underage per Canadian law. But remember, our regulations specify certain laws don't apply to us. That was one of them. Do you know what I did for my final test? I had to assassinate a man in Thailand who was into little girls. That means at the tender age of 13, I had to do it. And I mean both ways. She shook her head. In a perfect world, I wouldn't order Seaman Bliss to do what she's doing, though she seems smitten with him, age notwithstanding. No, in a perfect world, a girl like Piano Bliss would never know that sirens exist, because they wouldn't. So what now? When they look at the info, stay so forces and have them made local blood banks. Give them a little extra as well, as a scare to not talk once the job's done. Then we continue as always. We have a mission to complete and a foe to defeat. No siren will rest until the job's accomplished, or to the death. To the death, Ashley agreed. Here, take this. Velvet handed Celestia an ice pack and a ball of wire. You gonna be okay? The three had moved to the juice bar, where the seats for Celestia to recover while she nursed both her injuries and humiliation. No, I've got a huge bruise that's going to develop into a black eye, and I'm probably going to be the laughingstock of this gym. Sorry, sis, Luna said, contriteness in her voice. Had I known you were unprepared, I would have... She face-palmed. Sorry. No, it's my fault. I tried to hide from both of you what I should have told you. Besides, I didn't want to make a spectacle of it. And instead, I ended up doing that anyway, she groaned. Can we get out of here? What happened to Chris? See how to go. Some emergency where she works, Luna replied. She says sorry and that she'll call you later to see how you're doing. Thanks. Celestia sat there for a few moments before asking, It's not too late for me for what, is it? Too late for what? Luna asked. Too late to find happiness? The pastel-haired beauty said in a small, girlish voice that sounded too fragile and worried. Velvet leaned forward. You mean it? Luna, for her part, asked, I knew I was right. The look in Celestia's eyes was someone completely lost as he said, I met someone. He works over at the Blanks. He's... A sudden smile came onto the woman's face as she turned to her companions. He's perfect. Strong, handsome, kind. Sounds like someone's a little smitten, Velvet replied. Celestia blushed, and both Velvet and Luna giggled in response. No, Tia, I'm happy for you. I always wanted you and Luna to find guys of your own. Only so you don't keep flossing night, Luna cried. Luna, Celestia said, entire voice sighing. Seriously, can you drop that joke, okay? Tia. A new voice came in, and the trio turned to find a man standing there, looking at the prone woman. What happened to you? Sable? She turned away aghast. Who hurt you? His voice was cold and angry. Both Velvet and Luna winced in shock at the sudden change in his voice. He bent down at her side, reaching out to turn her face back to him. If anyone hit you, I swear I'm gonna... No, nobody hit me, Sable, she stammered, blushing for both his touch and concern. I slipped on the treadmill and face planted on the control panel. I feel like an idiot as is. Please don't make it worse. He turned to the two women there. Is this true? Unable to say something, he merely nodded. When that happened, he relaxed and offered her a hand. Come on, let's get you out of here. He shook his hand and pulled her up with muscles the other two women couldn't help but take notice of. I was going to do some time weightlifting today, but my girl's more important if you ask me. Your girl, Celestia said breathlessly. Unless there's something wrong with that? He asked, his voice constrained curiosity. In response, he leaned up against him and sighing. Take me home? How about I take you to my place? Take care of that shiner and make us dinner. I have a new recipe I'm dying to try out. We can come get your car later. I'm all yours, she smiled. Turning back to Luna and Velvet, she fished out her locker key and tossed it into her direction and asked, Luna, could you put my stuff in the car? We'll be around your place later. Bye! With Sable and Celestia left, Luna waited a few more minutes before wiping a bit of drool she hadn't realized come from her mouth. Wow, was all she could say. Yeah, tell me about it. Cindy tells me I need to get my hubby here so I can get him to look like that hunk of man meat. You do realize this conversation doesn't pass the movie measure, right? Lou, this is real life, not some dumb test. Velvet replied, and right now, I'm pretty sure what just happened was very real. Little Watts asked, in the distance, the man helped her sister into the car, but not before getting a kiss on the cheek from her. There was no doubt they were eyeing him. No kidding, she sighed, as the car pulled away and drove off. So, Sunset, how are you enjoying your brief vacation this chapter? I'm loving it. Hey, honey, Kane said as Shiny walked through the door to their apartment. You look beat. I am. and it's the kind of I am I can't tell you about. He groaned, pulling off his tie and slipping into a jacket. The most I could say is that until further notice, I'm working for the FBI. That's probably the case that I can't talk to you about at all. He popped down the couch and leaned back, rubbing his forehead. This is probably worse than that whole thing with Sleepy back from December. That bad? So yeah, sitting down next to him. Yeah. Falls a group of girls this time. And yeah, let's just say it's that bad. He groaned. Well, I got enchiladas in the oven, and no plans tonight except spending them with you. She said, snuggling closer to him as he put her arm around him. So, do you get a Phoebe badge? Yeah. Had to turn my CPD badge into the locker for the moment. He wanted me to turn in my service pistol as well, until I told him I'd carry my own. Had to get that approved. He reached in his pocket and pulled out his newly issued FBI ID and badge. Apparently this isn't normal procedure, but we got the lecture that this isn't a normal case. Taking the badge in hand, Keynes looked down, her lilac eyes turning into his blue ones. Please tell me you'll be okay on this one. Katie, No, hon, I know you. Have known you for years. I know every little thing about you, and as a lawyer, it's my job to basically know as a person tells. Right now, you're wrestling with telling me something you're not supposed to. You're worried I'm going to take it. That obvious? Not to the average person, no, she admitted. I'm a very good professor at law school who covered all of that. Okay. He looked at her as though she was the most priceless thing in his life, before leaning forward and kissing her. He didn't know it, but this simple act of love set her to a panic mode that she had to fight to keep up off her face. The fact is, everyone on my team, me, Mel, Scuff, and Sandy. Sandy's involved in this too? She gasped, concerned for both her husband and best friend were both involved in this mess. Yeah. Anyways, we're supposed to wear body armor whenever we're on duty, and at least in Cuff's case, he's gotta get a gun with better stopping power. Keynes, long familiar with her husband's knowledge of guns, even taught her how to fire them in the event of emergency, glanced, followed by her hands going to her face in shock. Shane, no. He nodded. We're facing something bigger than I've ever dealt with, and it's going to be nasty. This is something that's LA or New York big. She wrapped her arms around him before she even realized she'd done so. Please be careful. Tell the others as well. She then said, subtle voice, I don't know what I would do if I lost you, Shining. You won't, he said, kissing her. You won't, I promise. How are you feeling? Sable asked Celestia as she laid on his couch. I think I'll be swimming from now on, she groaned, sitting up. Maybe I should have you suck me in the other eye to match. As a result of that, he snickered. Something wrong? Just making me think of something from my past. She moved slightly so he could sit down and began. When I was about 15 or so, I had my first girlfriend. Fighting thing by the name of Doublestar. Double was a bit of a tomboy and could easily keep up with me whenever I went hunting or fishing. Anyway, one weekend she went hunting with me and insisted on using a shotgun, though she never had one before. I thought she practiced one, so I let her. We went after this buck, pretty big one, 8-pointer, and she fired, and the gun bucked, the butt hitting her square across the face. Ended up with double black eyes and ended up with the nickname Raccoon. Well, she hated it at first, but she eventually embraced. So what happened? I joined the military while she joined the Peace Corps. She met a guy there. Got married 3 years later. We still keep in touch, though. Well, you get the idea. He smiled. But my point is, if you think I'm deterred by a black eye, well, Dubba and I were a couple despite those coon eyes of hers. She's going to have fun with it. Your situation's different. But I'm not going away. Even if I'm in the AARP range? She teased. Told you, I had a thing for older women, he said with a laugh. Dub was 6 months older than me, so, hey, what's a decade or two? Well, let's find out, she said, leaning up to kiss him, while she joined in. This is weird. Arya held up a horizontal top. No way am I going to wear this. Let's get on you, sis, Sonata suggested. She already picked out a hoodie for herself, as well as some skirts and other normal clothing. Yeah, this is easy for you. You're the team's forward scout. You're supposed to look like you blend in. I think I'm going to help Dodgy. I think she just wandered over to the boys section. Good idea. Maddie can help me, Arya replied. Taking a hit, Madrigal said to the male triplet, This isn't as hard as it seems, Ari. The Scrabble looks good on you, and doesn't look like you'll give anything away. She looked quickly at Arya's violet and turquoise hair. Look, I know you prefer your hair in a bun, but what about twin pigtails? Arya looked at her. Pigtails? Really, Maddie? The older woman nodded. Yes, pigtails. Trust me, I saw the look in a teen magazine I got for Sunny, and it has a pretty good styles. Tell you what, why don't I help you with finding some stuff, okay? With you? Of course. Meanwhile, Sonata walked over to Adagio, who was looking more in the men's section. Daddy? Women's section over here? Yeah, but I think I like the guys' stuff better. Honestly, I agree. But we're supposed to be girly girl for this op. True, I suppose. The pair walked back towards the women's section before Adagio asked, Sonny, do you ever think about our parents? I try not to, sis, Sonata remembered. Remember what Uncle Poutine said? We were found in a tenement in east side Vancouver with our dead parents. Luckily, we're still alive. Since we were dead for close to a week. Personally, I think we're better off now than we were before. Adagio nodded. She read the dossier that their guardian had given the three when they turned 13, started formal military training. That the three were found by the bodies of their dead junkie parents, who had been illegal Chinese immigrants. That the three emancipated and appeared to be only a few months old. Their birth date was in fact the day they were taken in by the Ministry of Child and Family Development in Vancouver's office. That their birth order had literally been decided, not an actual order, as that was unknown, but was picked up by the MCFD agents in order. Adagio, Arya, Sonata. That their names had immediately had a relative come down to pick them up. The names have also been given by the Siren recruiter who immediately embedded within the MCT office. Their uncle, who had assigned the names the moment he heard about the triplets. That their guardians had given them the names based on his favorite girl group. Shortly after reading that information, the three teens went out to Potter's Field where their parents had been buried. They laid 3 single roses in Canada's colors at the gravesite and hadn't been back since. Haven't you thought about what life would be like if we were normal? Adagio asked. She looked at her youngest sister. For all anyone know, maybe it was Sonata that had been born first. A mystery no one would ever know the answer to. Dazi, you're my sister. I'm assuming you love me and Ari, right? Of course. Sisterhood or no, why do you have to ask? Sonata smiled. Because this is normal. It might not be other people's idea of normal, but this is normal for me, you, me, Ari, our grands, yours, whatever Mrs. we're assigned. You're the oldest and our fire team leader. Yeah, this is normal for us, I guess. But as Adagio looked across the store at 2 teenagers in the baby section, one with flowing red and yellow hair, the other with bobbed line and fuchsia hair, she said to her sister, But sometimes I wonder what's normal for everyone else. Thanks for coming for me shopping for baby stuff, Sonny, Blossom Force said, trying to waddle. I'm nervous about... Oh my friggin' god, Sunset has shown up! Ladies and gentlemen, the main character of our fic has finally shown up in this chapter! Hey, I promised I'd be there for you, right? Sunset replied, taking a snapshot of a bassinet. How's birthday classes coming along? Ugh, they call it the Russian method, and I can see why. My ancestors had to be hard to deal with that kind of crap. I didn't know you were Russian. Well, I'm not. My great-great-grandparents were, though. Moved here after the Soviets took over way back when. How about you? I don't know, the flame-hair replied. That's the problem with being a runaway orphan. My past is a big blank. Sunset made a note to someday look up the birth records of her human equivalent. It had to be something she could use for her own needs. Even though her life was her own now, she was, biologically speaking, her earthly counterpart's twin. That's the same. Do you know what Flash was? Dutch family, I think. You mentioned it once when I was over his place. He's still not speaking to you? Blossom turned away. And Sunset put her hand on her friend's shoulder. Sorry. No. I told you you were right already, she said softly. It's just that this is his child that I'm carrying. I'll be giving the birth to in the fall. You think that he cared somehow, or his parents would. I really don't know his parents well, Sunset informed Blossomforth, so I can't tell you what they're likely thinking. All I could say is I'm here for you, Blossom, you and your child. The younger girl smiled. Don't take this the wrong way, Sonny. I swear, if you were a guy, I'd probably want you as a boyfriend. Sunset laughed. Blossom, I've had enough problems in my life without contemplating Rule 63. Thank you very much. But seriously, thanks, Sonny. This is easy for me, being a single mom. And though my parents have adjusted, it's good to know I have some friends who won't abandon me. Nobody has, Blossom. Nobody has. Honestly, I'm just glad that Mr. and Mrs. Kinkla is going on workday to do some baby shopping. Oh, they probably knew I needed a hand, and this was easier for you to help than Pinky. Blossom said, a secretive smile on her face. Seated in the Sugar Cube corner, 6 teens, with a 7th poking occasionally when not handling waitress duties, talked. From the way they acted, it seemed that as much was both clandestine and the most important thing in the world. And given the attitude of all of them, maybe it was. Girls. That's why I said to her friends and her cousin Octavia, I need your help. Help? Larry asked. Of course, fine idea. What the for? Well, it's the planet Sunny's birthday. Twilight answered, then quickly saying to Pinky before she could interject, Yes, Pinky, you're playing too, but I want this to come from all of us. Well, of course, Lovely Twilight, the party playing teen chirped. I can't play in all the parties, just nuts.